I was just joking about the Terminal 21 plastic lady. I was not trying to make any bad references about women. Just the fact, just a joke, okay? But one of the things you're going to find is if you come to Thailand very much for dating, for love, which is what the book and all this is about, and you're looking for a girlfriend, you're looking for a wife or mother, you're going to run into some strange behavior in a dating situation for Westerners. I've never been on a date in America or anywhere for that matter other than Thailand to where I go out on a date once and sometimes they don't even make it to the first date before they ask for money. And it's really strange. They joke and call us ATMs, white foreigners, or Farang they sometimes call us. And there's a lot to be said about that because you feel like that sometimes. There was one young lady I took out on a date. We went, and I'm not talking about bar girls. I'm not talking about freelancers. I'm talking about regular Thai ladies that you'd want as a girlfriend. Somebody who works in a bank or hotel. And this lady, we went out. I was craving a steak. So we went to a nice steakhouse, had a nice dinner with wine. We had drinks afterwards. We even stopped and got a massage on the way back to the hotel. And the next day at breakfast, she looks at me and she says, I want 5,000 baht. And I looked at her and smiled and said, I didn't think you're that kind of girl. And she said, I'm not. She said, I want to go get my hair done. It's my day off. I want to get my hair done. And it's like, I just got a haircut for 200 baht. What are they going to do for 5,000 baht? And I just give me the money, whatever. And it's like, I told you, I don't give money to someone. I said, if you were my girlfriend, if we were living together, married, possibly. I said, but not after one date. And she got mad, but she got over it. And that's one of the strange things I see is I've had so many women ask me for money. And when I tell them no, they pout, they get a little angry, but they get over it. And then they just come up with another thing that they want to borrow money for. This came to light after one of the ladies I saw several times contacted me after I'd gotten back to California and was visiting my son after my trip. And I had seen her 4 or 5 times, and she told me that she needed money, that she's sick, she needs money. And I told her, it's like, I told you, I don't give money to people. If you're my wife, if you're living together, that'd be different. But, after a few dates, I'm not going to send you money. And so, of course, she got mad. She called me cheap. Oh, you're rich, won't send money to me. You're so stingy. She went through all the stuff. And it kind of didn't set well with me. And I thought about it for a minute. And I told her, I said, you know what? You don't understand the number of women who ask for money when you're a white foreigner traveling in Thailand. I said, met and or saw, dated 8 ladies when I was in Thailand, 5 of which asked me for money. Now, some I didn't go out with, some I just met for a coffee or drink and it didn't work out. But in 8 women, 5 asked for money. And most of them were after the first date. There was one lady I didn't count as asking for money. We went to lunch, and after lunch, I told her, I said, I'm going to go to the grocery store because we were in the mall. I said, I'm going to go to the grocery store to pick up some things for the hotel room. And I need water and snacks and stuff. So she said, oh, I'll go with you. So we went. We were having fun, laughing and joking. I really wasn't paying attention to what she was doing. Anytime I needed something, I'd leave the cart with her and I would go get it. And we got to the cash register. And I looked down and there's makeup, there's lotion, there's shampoo and toothpaste, all the stuff in the cart. It was 30, 40, $50 worth of stuff. And the toothpaste and the shampoo might have been for the hotel, but I really don't think the cosmetics and the lotion with the whitening in it was for me. So I bought it for her and didn't say much about it. It was one of those things. And it was okay, but still, it's like, it would have been better if she'd asked. But with all of this, okay, there are ways to minimize the money thing because one of the things for me if I'm dating someone I really like them, it's hurtful to have them give me money, and because it takes a loving kind of romantic relationship and makes it very transactional. If I wanted that, I would go to the bar. But I always let someone know right away, okay, I don't give money to women. And I don't just say that bluntly, like in the first 5 minutes of our date. I'll tell a story about a woman who asked me for money, and I'll say, you have to realize I don't give money out to women. You know, if it was my wife, girlfriend, I was living with someone, that would be different. But I don't give money out. And that helps some. Okay, the second thing is that there are times to where a woman does need money. You know, you tell, she says, I'm going to meet you somewhere. And she has to take a taxi. They don't have money to be spending on taxis to meet you in a lot of cases. So you have to pay for it. But don't just go give her money. Go to the taxi driver and pay him. Because a lot of women will fudge a little bit. You know, I spent 3,000 baht on the taxi ride when actually it was 100 baht. So you have to be careful of that. The other thing is a lot of Western men bring this on themselves and kind of get women in that habit of asking because they've watched too many movies. They want to save the woman. And when they first start dating, especially if they have relations with her, they want that protector thing and they want to solve her problems, at least in the beginning. And they don't realize what it unleashes. Okay, the first time, oh, your car's down, you got to get to work, I can pick up your kid. You know what? It's $80 to fix it. Here's $80. Okay, for us, it's not that big a deal. But what it does is it kind of identifies you as an ATM, as a person to come to for money. And I have done that to where not that particular thing, but I've had a woman who I've dated for a couple of weeks and she's never said anything about money. And it's like, wow, got a good one here. And then something comes up in her life that's really important. There was one lady came to me, it had been like 4 weeks that I'd been with her. And, she came to me and I could tell it was really important by the way she acted. And so I gave her the money. And all of a sudden, like 3 days later, I know you told me I'd never get, to ask you for money again, but there's this thing. And it's everything. It's, the joke is my mom's sick buffalo, but it is. You hear it all. My mom's car is broken down. My mom's sick. My dad's sick. My child needs medicine. My child, I have to pay for his schooling, everything, and some are just honest. The lady with the hair, I was honest. I've had other ladies say that they're going with their girlfriends to the islands and they want some spending money. So it ranges in all ways, but it's one of those things, you start it, you got to live with it. So it's up to you. And that's another thing I love about Thai women. You ask them any question, it's up to you. If it's not important, where you want to go to dinner, what you want to do today, you want to go swimming, it's all up to you. But then if it's anything important, it's up to me. So, that's a good one. As I said earlier, sometimes men bring on the issues of money themselves. There's a lot of men that come to Thailand and will try dating an 18, 19, 20-year-old young lady. And you have to use some common sense. I am all for having a beautiful girlfriend, but at the same time, when you get somebody that young, you have to realize they have a lot of choices. And probably dating a 60, 70-year-old guy isn't one of their first choices. And they'll always make comments, oh, I like old guys. They don't cheat on you. They're reliable. They're this or that. But when you see a 20-year-old girl walking down the street with a 75-year-old man that's not in very good condition, he's kind of, walks with a little bit of a limp. He's overweight. He doesn't have some of his teeth, missing his hair. There's, common sense kicks in, and there's a reason more than physical attraction that she's with him. And in that situation, there's going to be a lot of problems when it comes to money. The difference between ages, accepted ages, of men and women in Southeast Asia is something that a lot of people don't really get, okay? It's not unlimited. If you're really old, trying to get somebody really young, that's a fantasy. No one's 18, 19, 20 years old is going to fall in love and be faithful and a good husband or a good wife, a good girlfriend for a guy that's 75. That's called the age gap. The age gap is the difference in age between a man and a woman that is accepted. And I came up with a good working formula for me. I look at it, I go, my age, I'm 63, rounded 64 to make life easy, and you divide it in half, that's 32. And then you add 10 years, 42. And since I've used that, I can honestly say it worked. That was the age that most of the ladies that I dated turned out to be. They're mature. They're not children anymore, or adult children. They're still young. They're still beautiful. They're still fun. They still have a youthful spirit. I wanted to make sure this was in the video because I think a lot of people don't understand why men go to foreign countries to meet someone to be their girlfriend or their wife. And even my sons, they ask me, it's like, Dad, when you're in Thailand, you've had girlfriends, you had relationships, you date a lot if you're single. But in America, you have a lot of opportunities, but you don't take advantage of any of them. And first of all, dating in America really isn't fun, at least most of the time. Instead of having fun and enjoying each other and talking about ideas and things and where you want to go on your next vacation, what you're going to do with the rest of your life, you end up talking about politics and who voted for who. That's just boring. And, if you're going to do that, you sit around and you're going to get old. In Thailand, the women are beautiful. They age very gracefully. They have a youthful spirit. And I told my sons, they asked me, and they're in their 30s to where I can be honest with them. And I said, you know what? I said, to be honest, the average woman in America at 63, if I brought her home, you guys would look when I came inside the house and say, Dad, where did you kidnap this grandma from? And it's just the way it is. I mean, a lot of people don't take good care of themselves. And when you see a Thai woman get ready for something, they like slather lotion on and do all these things to stay youthful looking. And it couldn't have been better. It was my birthday. Even if I planned it, it couldn't have been better. It was my birthday, and my sons took me to a show. And the MC of the show asked, before it started, hey, is anybody's birthday tonight? And so some people raised their hand. I told my sons, don't you dare raise your hand. And there was a lady right at the little table right next to us who raised her hand. And the boys looked at her, and when it got to her, when he was talking to everyone, asking their age, and when their birthday was, like, was your birthday today? Yes. It's like, how old are you, ma'am? And it's, I'm 63. The boys like looked at me, and it's like, I told you. And it's, that's not a representation of every woman in America, but there are a lot of women like that in America. Her hair was just undone and frumpy. She had no makeup on. She was in like a muumuu and Birkenstocks. It was completely not okay for the show. But, like in a lot of situations, comfort has replaced looking good or beauty. And that's, they finally got it. And it's like, that's why I go to Thailand. I saved the best for last. One of the things you need to do when you're dating a woman, especially if you think it could lead somewhere, is you need to talk to her subtly. I mean, don't ask, hey, how's your relationship with your parents? But talk to her about her family. Get an idea of the situation. I've met some ladies who literally work themselves to death trying to support themselves, and they have, they're single moms that have one or two children to support, and then on top of that, their parents are constantly asking for money. And the Thai culture is different than ours. It is the responsibility of the children, especially the girls, to help the parents. And help is kind of a little bit of a lax word there, because, and the parents are all different. I've met some parents, or talked to them, heard of them, that are really cool. They try to get by with what they have, and they accept help from their children. But I've seen other parents that just literally are, I mean, for lack of a better word, they're moochers. I mean, they try to get every extra penny that poor little girl has at the end of the week. And you have to know that, because it's bad for a lot of these ladies week to week, but then you introduce a farang into the picture as a boyfriend or husband, and it just goes crazy. If the people do have moocher tendencies, they all of a sudden think they hit the mother lode with, a rich white farang son-in-law or would-be son-in-law. And I have talked to so many couples that have actually broken up. There was one couple that got a divorce because of the constant, asking for money and help. The husband got just tired of always being asked for money and then feeling guilty for not giving it to them. And the wife got tired of being the middle person. She had to listen to the parents complain about what a terrible daughter she was, and he was a terrible man because he didn't help him out more. And the husband got mad because it was a constant drain on their money. They couldn't do what they wanted to do and have the things they wanted because everything seemed to go to the parents. So find out about that before you get too involved with a woman, because you have to remember, if you're in that situation, it's easy to say, I'm American. I didn't marry with the family. I'm not supporting them. But when they're constantly bothering you, most people are nice, and they can't see people living a life of poverty and not want to help. And then somebody's always bothering you. It's a hard situation to be in. So find out those things as you're dating, to see if it's something you really want to get into, because there's some really nice ladies that have some really terrible parents.